For almost 50 years, peace had lived between Earth and the stars. Humans had finally found their place among hundreds of alien races. They were no longer called the violent ones or the savages. Now they were explorers, builders, and friends. The Galactic Union had opened its doors to Earth, and humans had spread across many worlds. One of those worlds was a quiet planet named Vatra 9. Green skies, silver forests, and oceans that glowed at night. It was home to many species, all living side by side. Among them was a small human colony, a few hundred families who had come to build a new home. In that colony lived a little girl named Lena Carter. She was 9 years old, bright eyes, brown hair always flying in the wind, and a smile that could melt even the coldest alien heart. Lena loved everything about Vatra 9, the glowing flowers, the gentle rains, the alien children who became her friends. Her best friend was a small alien boy named Taro, from a blue-skinned species called the Viril. They went everywhere together, climbing crystal trees, chasing the shining bugs that floated in the dark. To the people of the colony, Lena was a symbol of peace, a child of two worlds loved by both humans and aliens. And for years life stayed calm. The adults worked, the children played, and the galaxy seemed kind. But far away beyond the safe worlds of the Union, something dark was watching. A group of warlike aliens, the Dravak clans, hated humans. To them, humans were newcomers who rose too fast, who earned too much power. The Dravaks believed only strength ruled the stars. And to prove it, they decided to send a message, one that would shake the galaxy. It began as a whisper. A strange signal appeared near Vatra 9. The colony's scanners saw nothing dangerous, maybe just a passing ship. But deep in space, hidden by asteroids, Dravak raiders waited. They watched the peaceful colony, laughing in their dark ships. To them, it was just another weak outpost. They didn't see families. They saw targets. That night, Vatra 9's sky burned. It started with a sound and a low, distant thunder. Then light, fire falling from the heavens. Explosions tore through the colony's edge. The alarm screamed, red lights flashing through homes. People ran, holding their children, searching for cover. Soldiers tried to fight back, but the raiders came fast and without mercy. In the middle of the chaos, little Lena was with her friend Taro. They were playing near the forest when the attack began. The ground shook. Buildings fell. Taro screamed, pointing at the burning sky. Lena grabbed his hand. She didn't run for herself. She ran to save him. They reached a small shelter, but a falling beam blocked the way. Lena pushed Taro through the gap. Then another explosion hit. Taro turned back, shouting her name, but the light swallowed her. When the battle ended, the colony was silent. Smoke rose where homes once stood. The Dravak ships left, laughing in their alien language. They didn't care who lived or died. To them, it was nothing. Just one human child, but they didn't understand what they had done. The next morning, a rescue ship from the Union arrived. They found survivors, frightened, broken, crying. And among the ashes, they found Lena's small bracelet, half melted, still glowing faintly. Her mother fell to her knees, holding it close, screaming into the wind. The footage spread across the galaxy. Every screen showed the same image, a burned colony, a lost child, and her mother's cry. The Galactic Union called it a tragic incident. The Dravak said it was an accident, but the humans of Earth watched in silence. No words, no anger, just silence, the kind that comes before a storm. Because deep beneath that silence, something began to stir. Something old, something fierce. On Earth, in the great capital of New Geneva, the Global Council met. No one spoke for a long time. Then one old general stood and said only this: "The galaxy has forgotten what it means to make Earth bleed. Let them remember." Outside, the skies of Earth darkened as fleets began to move. Silent ships left orbit, heading for the stars. The humans were not shouting. They were not crying. They were preparing. And somewhere in the heart of every human, one voice whispered the same words: "This is not the end. This is the beginning." The death of one child had awakened something powerful, something unstoppable. Earth's fury. For 2 long days, the galaxy stayed quiet. The fires on Vatra 9 still burned, and the survivors waited for rescue. But the real storm was still far away, sleeping, waiting on the blue planet called Earth. The first report arrived at dawn in New Geneva, Earth's capital. A young officer entered the command room, holding a tablet in his shaking hands. "Sir, it's from Vatra 9, he said softly. The room fell silent as the holographic screen flickered on. Images appeared. The broken colony, the destroyed homes, the smoke. And then the last recording, a small girl's voice laughing one moment, then screaming as the attack began. The laughter stopped. The signal ended. Everyone in the room stood frozen. They didn't need names, and they all knew who she was. Lena Carter, daughter of a human ambassador, a child of peace. Now gone, the officer looked up. "What do we tell the Union?" he asked. No one answered. Because in that silence they all felt the same thing. Not fear, not sadness, but something older. A slow burning rage. The news spread faster than light. Across every colony, on every ship, humans stopped to watch. Miners on Mars turned off their drills. Students on Luna stopped their lessons. Soldiers on far worlds stood still, eyes fixed on the screens. The video played again and again in the fire, the screams, the small bracelet shining in the ashes. And everywhere the same question whispered through the crowds. Who did this? When the truth came, that it was the Dravak clans, the galaxy held its breath. The Dravaks were powerful, known for their raids and bloodlust. They laughed on open channels, calling humans weak. To them it was just one child. To Earth it was family. Within hours the Global Council called an emergency meeting. The great chamber filled with leaders, commanders, and scientists. The president of Earth, an old woman with tired eyes, stood in silence before speaking. 50 years of peace, she said. 50 years of trust. And they took a child. Our child, a general, leaned forward. Madam President, the Union says they'll investigate. They ask for patience. The president looked at him, her voice cold as steel. Patience? She whispered. Would they ask for patience if it was one of their own? The room went quiet again. The answer was obvious. Then another voice spoke. Admiral Kane, commander of the Terran fleet. His face was calm, but his eyes were fire. We have ships ready, he said softly. No orders, no movement. But they're waiting. The president didn't reply. She only said not yet, but everyone in that room knew not yet didn't mean never. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council tried to calm things. They sent messages to Earth urging peace, promising justice. But their words meant nothing. The galaxy had seen what happened, and they saw how humans reacted. Not with panic, not with speeches, but with silence. And that silence scared them more than any threat. News anchors across the stars reported, Earth remains quiet. No public statement. No movement. Human fleets missing from regular patrol routes. The Terran Navy may be mobilizing. The Dravaks laughed when they heard it. They won't dare attack us, their warlord said. They're too soft now. Too civilized. But he was wrong because deep beneath the oceans of Earth, in secret hangars carved from rock, the old fleets were awakening. Ships built in darker times, when war was all humanity knew. Each one a monster of steel and fire, silent for decades, now alive again. Engines hummed. Lights flickered. And the stars outside began to tremble. Back in New Geneva, a small ceremony was held. No press, no crowds, only a few people and a small hologram of a girl smiling. Lena Carter's mother stood there, holding her daughter's bracelet. She didn't speak. She didn't cry. She just looked at the stars and whispered, "Make them remember her." Behind her, the president placed a hand on her shoulder. And far above them, the first human battle group vanished into the black. No signals, no lights. The galaxy still believed Earth was grieving. But the truth was different. Earth was waiting, and for the right time, the right place. And when that moment came, no one would be ready. Because humans were not just another species. They were survivors. They were protectors. And when you hurt one of their own, especially a child, you woke something ancient. Something that remembered fire and blood and vengeance. From Mars to Titan, from Luna to the edge of the stars, one message began to spread among humans. For Lena. It started as a whisper. Then a chant. Then a roar. The galaxy had no idea what was coming. But soon they would learn. Humanity does not forget. Humanity does not forgive. The storm was coming. And this time, Earth would be the thunder. The stars looked peaceful that night, silent, cold. But behind that calm light, something powerful was moving. For weeks, the galaxy had been waiting, watching Earth's silence like a dark cloud before rain. The Galactic Council sent more messages, begging for peace, but there was no answer. The humans had gone quiet, too quiet, and in that quiet, the fury of Earth began to rise. Deep in the black of space, far from any known route, human fleets gathered. No lights, no transmissions, only the soft glow of their engines, hidden behind shadow fields. Thousands of ships, war cruisers, stealth frigates, carriers older than nations. Some of these ships hadn't flown since the ancient wars. Now they were awake again. Each one carried a single word painted across its hull: Lena. In the command ship Resolute, Admiral Kane stood before a holographic map of the Dravak territories. He didn't shout. He didn't smile. He just said 3 words: begin the strike. Across the dark, human ships jumped to light speed. In seconds they vanished, turning the stars into fire. The Dravak world of Quran Prime was first. It was a fortress world. Heavy shields, thousands of defense guns, fleets in orbit. They were ready for a war, but they were not ready for humans. When the first Terran ships appeared, there was no warning. The sky lit up as plasma beams cut through the Dravak defenses. Their sensors failed. Their communications died. Earth's fleet moved like ghosts, silent, fast, merciless. In less than 10 minutes, Quran Prime was burning. The Dravak commanders screamed for help, but no help came. Every nearby ship had already been destroyed. By the time the human fleet left, there was nothing left but silence and smoke. And with every world they burned, one message was left behind. For Lena of Vetra 9, the message spread across the stars like fire. Dravak soldiers started to surrender without a fight. Entire outposts turned dark, fearing what would come next. But the humans didn't stop. They didn't speak. They simply kept moving, one system after another. The Galactic Council met in emergency. Representatives from 100 worlds shouted across the chamber. "They're destroying everything," cried one. "They won't stop until the Dravaks are gone," said another. The council president tried to calm them. "We must contact Earth," but the human seat was empty. No one from Earth had attended in days. One alien delegate whispered what everyone feared: "The humans are not listening anymore," and he was right. Earth had turned its face away from the council. They no longer asked for permission. They didn't explain. They acted. Back on Earth, the cities were quiet. People gathered in homes and cafes, watching silent screens. They didn't cheer. They didn't cry. They simply watched as one red dot after another disappeared from the galactic maps. Each dot was a Dravak world, each one erased by the hand of Earth. On the 10th day, the Dravak warlord himself sent a desperate message to Earth, a hologram filled with smoke and fear. He said, "Stop this, please. It was a mistake. We will pay. We will surrender." The reply came from Admiral Kane himself. He appeared on the screen, calm and cold. "You killed a child," he said. "There is no payment for that." The signal ended. Moments later, the Dravak capital burned. When the fires finally stopped, the galaxy looked at Earth in silence. No one spoke against them. No one dared. Even the strongest empires bowed their heads. For the first time in history, the Galactic Council passed a new law: the protection of humankind. Any harm done to a human, on any world, would be treated as a crime against the Union itself. But Earth never celebrated. They didn't call it victory. They called it justice. A week later, Admiral Kane stood alone on his ship, looking out into the stars. His second officer approached him quietly. "It's over, sir," she said. He nodded. "Nothing is ever over," he replied. He looked down at the small bracelet hanging from his wrist, a simple band of metal with a name engraved inside. Lena. Then he whispered, almost to himself, "Sleep well, little one." They will never hurt us again. The stars outside glowed softly, as if bowing to his words. Earth's fury had burned bright, and the galaxy would never forget it. Because now they understood humans were not dangerous because they loved war. They were dangerous because they loved deeply, and when you destroy what they love, they become something unstoppable. That night, a silent message spread through human space. It had no signature, no name. Only 4 words: "The Fury has spoken," and the galaxy trembled. The galaxy was silent. The war was over. The Dravak Empire, once proud, loud, and cruel, was gone. Not defeated, erased. For the first time in 1,000 years, every screen across the stars showed the same image: a planet burning in red fire, and one human fleet leaving behind nothing but quiet dust. No music, no speeches, just silence, and that silence spoke louder than any army. On the capital world of the Galactic Council, thousands of leaders met again in panic. Some shouted in anger, some in fear. The council chamber glowed with hundreds of alien faces, all talking at once. "They destroyed an entire species," cried one. "They didn't ask for our approval," shouted another. "They are out of control." But the oldest among them, a long-lived being from the world of Tyros, raised his hand. The noise stopped. He spoke slowly, his voice calm and heavy with meaning. "You call it destruction," he said, "but I call it warning. You forget who they are. You forget where they come from." He turned his many eyes toward the great hologram of Earth spinning in the air. Humans come from a world that tried to kill them every day. Storms, fires, ice. They survived all of it. And when they came to the stars, they carried that fire inside. You don't threaten such a people. You don't harm their children. The room fell silent again. Even the loudest voices had no words. Across the galaxy, the story of Lena Carter spread like light through darkness. Artists painted her face on walls. Priests spoke her name in temples. Children, human and alien, carried small bracelets to remember her. She became a symbol not of war but of love that woke the storm. Some species feared humans more than ever. They whispered in secret, calling them monsters made of emotion and fire. Others, though, began to understand. They saw humanity not as destroyers, but as protectors. A famous alien journalist asked an old Terran Marine for an interview. The question was simple. Why did you do this? Why burn worlds for one child? The Marine looked into the camera and answered softly, "Because she was ours." That's all that matters. The interview spread across every network. For days, people discussed those 4 words, "She was ours." And slowly, fear began to change into respect. On the edge of the galaxy, far from politics and news, a small alien outpost sent a message to Earth. It was from the Virel people, the species of Lena's best friend, Taro. Their leader's voice trembled as he spoke. "We will raise her name in our cities," he said. "We will tell our children that once there was a little girl who died saving one of ours, and that her people loved her so much, they shook the stars for her." When that message reached Earth, even the soldiers of the Terran fleet stood in silence. No one spoke. Some wiped their eyes. Admiral Kane ordered it to be played across every ship. Once, only once. Then he said, "Let this be the end." In time, peace returned. But it was not the same peace as before. Now every planet in the galaxy knew what Earth was capable of. They knew what happened when you touched a human heart. Trade routes reopened. Alliances were rebuilt. But whenever a human ship entered orbit, every defense cannon lowered. Every world greeted them with care. Not out of fear, but out of respect. The Galactic Council soon created a new day of remembrance, Lena's Day, the day the stars learned to respect love. On that day, no wars were fought. No guns fired. Instead, children across many worlds released lights into the sky. Small lanterns floating upward, glowing softly like stars. Each light carried one message, for Lena, for peace. And though Earth had returned to silence, the rest of the galaxy could still feel it, that quiet power that slept beneath the oceans, in the mountains, in the hearts of billions. Everyone knew one truth now. Humans did not need to roar to be feared. Their silence was louder than any weapon, because the fury of Earth was not born from hate, it was born from love. Love so strong that it could move worlds, shake empires, and turn darkness into light. Far away in the orbit above Earth, the old ship Resolute floated quietly. Admiral Kane stood once again at the viewing deck, staring at the blue planet below. He whispered, "She was one of us," and the stars remember her. Behind him, the Earth glowed bright and calm, beautiful and deadly, just like the hearts of its people. And across the galaxy, that story, the story of one small human child, became legend, the girl who united the stars. Months passed. The fires of war faded into cold ash, and the stars grew quiet again. The Dravak name disappeared from maps, their world silent and empty. Peace had returned, but it was not the same peace as before. Now, whenever people looked toward the blue light of Earth, they felt something new. Not fear, not anger, but respect. The galaxy had learned a lesson written in fire. Never mistake human kindness for weakness. Never touch what they love. In the great capital of the Galactic Union, the Council gathered one last time. The air was heavy. Everyone waited for Earth to speak. For months the human seat had been empty. Rumors said they would never return. That humanity had gone silent for good. Then, without warning, the great doors opened. No single human walked in, and tall, calm, wearing the dark uniform of the Terran fleet. It was Admiral Kane. He carried no weapon, no guards, only a small silver bracelet in his hand. The chamber fell silent as he walked to the center. Every alien eye turned to him. He placed the bracelet on the table and looked around. "This belonged to a little girl," he said softly. Her name was Lena Carter. She was one of us. She was loved, and she died because the galaxy forgot what love means. No one moved. No one breathed. Then he continued, his voice calm but strong. "We are not here to rule. We are not here to conquer. We are here to live, to build, to protect. But if you ever harm one of ours again..." He stopped, looked up at the bright light above the chamber and said quietly, "You already know what happens." And with that, he turned and left. No threats, no promises, just truth. After that day, Earth sent one final broadcast, a message that spread across every corner of the galaxy. It wasn't from a general or a leader. It was from the people of Earth themselves. The message began with the image of a blue planet floating in the dark. Then a voice spoke, soft, warm, unmistakably human. "We do not seek war. We do not seek revenge. But we will never allow harm to our own. We are humanity. We build, we dream, we love. And when we rise in fury, it is not out of hate. It is out of love." The message ended with Lena's picture, her smiling face, and a simple line beneath it. She reminded us who we are. Across the stars, worlds stopped to listen. Some cried, some stood in silence. Even those who once feared Earth felt something new in their hearts, understanding. For the first time in galactic history, thousands of alien species joined in a moment of unity. They called it the Day of Humanity. On that day every year, people across the galaxy light a small candle or floating lamp and say the same words, "For Lena, for peace." Years passed. The galaxy healed. Trade, travel, and friendships grew again. Children, human and alien, went to the same schools, learning side by side. And every time a young student asked their teacher, "Who was Lena?" the answer was always told with respect. She was the child whose death woke the heart of Earth, the one who taught the stars what love truly means. On Earth, Admiral Kane grew old. He retired to a quiet home by the sea, far from the noise of politics and war. Every evening he watched the sunset, the same sun that had seen all of humanity's battles, all their pain, all their hope. One night, as the sky turned gold, he spoke softly to the wind. "It's peaceful now, little one," he said. "You can rest. The stars are safe." And for a moment, as the light touched the waves, he imagined he saw a small girl's reflection smiling back at him. The wind whispered through the trees, almost like a voice saying, "Thank you." He smiled. For the first time in years, he felt peace. Far above, in the darkness of space, a single Terran ship drifted silently. Its name, Lena's Hope, was carved into its hull. It carried no weapons, only explorers, scientists, and children. Its mission? To heal what was broken, to build what was lost. And on its bridge, a simple flag hung at white with a blue star in the center. Below it, the same words that had once echoed across the galaxy. "We do not seek war, but we will always protect our own." The ship moved toward the stars, leaving a trail of light behind, a promise that humanity's fury had become something greater. Not destruction, not fear, but hope. Because sometimes it takes great pain to remind the universe what love truly means. And so ended the story of Lena Carter, the human child whose death awakened Earth's fury, and whose memory united the stars in peace.